So ever since Mojang's surprise second round of villager changes the other day, I can't stop dreaming and thinking about villagers. Like, actually, genuinely, no joke, I don't even know if I should say it, but I literally had a dream about villagers and trading with them last night. Help. From the very best ore prices ever to armor tricks, from armor swapping to even more I bet you didn't realize. Today we're going to take a deep dive and run some tests on Mojang's latest round of villager changes. Specifically, the armor. Let's do this. As a prelude to all of our villager adventures today, you should probably know that the librarian villager changes that were made earlier on with the whole biome linking to specific enchantment stuff, well, that's still here. And the wandering trader changes, and the wandering trader changes, those beautiful things. Well, great news. Those are all specifically, exactly, and 100% unnecessarily unchanged. So if you familiarize yourself with all of those changes, that's great. Just keep them in mind. We'll come back to them later. So when I dropped part 1, if you will, in typical 200 IQ Mensa member only fashion, I made a couple small mistakes. Armorer Villager, Armorer Villager. Look, I can't lie to you. When it comes to villager languages, Armorer Village language is not the language that I am specifically the most fluent in. At least not right now how it is, like, before the experimental changes. Like how it's been for years is you could take the Armorer Villager, you could definitely buy chainmail armor from the Armorer Villager, got that one wrong. Previously before, you could also potentially buy some decent diamond armor. But here's the thing though, how it is right now, there's a lot of randomness that comes into play. Usually, maybe the armor isn't that hot, but you do have the option to find almost any enchantment. And sometimes it can get pretty stacked. And actually, per armor piece here, the trade seems to be locking after I make it 3 times. At least until it goes back to the workstation and unlocks again. Long story short, how it works right now, before any of the experimental changes, diamond armor is definitely on the menu, and typically every single piece of diamond armor. Sometimes those enchantments can get relatively stacked. When it comes to chainmail armor, you can also buy that from the villagers, and expanding it a little bit, because nothing is biome locked right now, chainmail is everywhere. So that's the past, or current era, I suppose. Either way, what that does is establish a solid baseline for exactly how it actually works when it comes to the armorer villager. Sending ourselves over to a random world, a beautiful one I should say, with the villager experiments turned on, let's take a look at how it is right now. Inside of a plains biome, if I drop a blast furnace down, drop a villager next to it, basically I'm gonna get the villager equivalent to what we were just checking out. Except now, the first trade, it's always gonna be coal, 15, and it's always gonna be iron, 5. So kind of just like they did with the librarian, but even more so here. It looks like what the devs are trying to do with villagers is basically remove a whole lot of the randomness out of the equation. It's kind of interesting, and to be honest, I have no clue where that guy is going. I meant to say it's kind of interesting, and I don't know. What do we think about this? Should villager trades be random every time? I mean, look at this. This is about as far as the randomness is going to go. Sometimes the iron will be on the top, other times it'll be on the bottom. Same price though, always. I can't lie though, I do think it's kind of cool that this villager opens up with nothing emerald related at all. Like, you're gonna have to go out into your world and do a little bit of mining so you can level this villager up if you want to actually trade with it. Now, once we level this villager up, the villager's trades, they're gonna get a little bit more randomized, but really like not that random. What I think we should do here, just so we can keep these villagers straight, is give them proper names. This villager will be named Subscribe, and this one will be named Like. Maybe that's a hint, I don't know. So if we go ahead and do the same thing that we just did to Like over there, just subscribe, level it up, just like that. Oh my gosh, no way. Well, terrible example, but I got the same exact trade. You can see the prices are always going to be the same though. However, I promise, I guarantee that it's not always going to be like that. You can get a little bit of randomization going on with this trade. Long story short, if you're inside of a plains biome, you can get offered any piece of iron armor at the second trade, and for a decent price too. Not bad for early game. Not bad for early game, that is, if you completely ignore how much iron you had to sell to the villager to get emeralds to be able to afford that, and how you totally should have just crafted the legs yourself. Maybe they can fix that. Now, in my opinion, this is where we hit the first terrible thing about this, because look at how many pieces of chest plates I'm going to have to buy from this villager if I want to actually be able to unlock the next trades. Like, this is actually insane how little experience this offers. And the leggings, it's the same exact value. But hey, maybe Like over here is completely cursed. Maybe it's different for Subscribe. Well, no, it's not different for Subscribe. You have to buy so many chest plates or leggings or helmets or whatever. You got to spend a lot of money if you want to actually level the villager up. And this is no better at all. After that, the next thing that I discovered from all of my testing here is randomization. It comes back into play. So every single time with each level, we're going to get 2 trades offered up typically. Here we've got a bell, and then we've got a bucket that I could sell. Maybe build an easy lava farm or something like that. Over here, I've got a shield that I could buy or a bell that I could buy. Next up, flip it over to the chart. This trade lays out every single potential trade for every single biome in every single armor villager. As you can see here, there are way more trades than before, and actually, the trades, they're way less random. From looking at the prices on the chart and testing it in game, yeah, the prices are basically locked every single time. This is a common thing that I was seeing pointed out down below. It wasn't really like necessarily the clearest, but the bell, yeah, it's 36 emeralds by default every single time you find that trade.
1 hour later.
Now, continue to work my way through this whole villager's leveling progression. Look at this inventory situation right here. To level this villager up all the way, I needed to trade with this thing so many times. I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing, but it is definitely a thing. Eventually, once we unlock the master level trade though, check that out. It will buy block of iron. Check it on the chart. Because we're inside of the plains biome, we'll also always get some piece of diamond armor with protection 1 on it. Protection 1. For all of this inventory's worth of trading, all of those emeralds? Come on. Like, it seems way harder than it is before, and you get protection 1. I think this could potentially be worth it if you got, like, maybe protection 3 or something, but protection 1? Oh, that's terrible. So that's like the basic leveling system and the trades for the armor, at least inside of the plains. Villager, where is YouTube family vlogger? There are 3 small children running around with no supervision. This seems like a terrible idea. Anyways, if you're vaguely familiar with this new trading system, then you kind of know what to expect. We move over to the taiga biome, and all of a sudden, we've got a system that is relatively similar looking. At least at first. So the first 3 levels for the taiga biome compared to the plains biome are going to be exactly the same. Basically, trade-wise, same prices, same offers, everything like that. Eventually, once we start leveling it up all the way, however, we're going to get different offers here. The taiga biome is very interesting, and check this out. For 4 emeralds and 1 diamond helmet, I could flip it into some boots. Oh boy. So check this out. This is interesting. First, we make some leggings. Now, theoretically, if we think about the cost of the recipe here, if I wanted to make a chest plate, it costs 1 more diamond. Alternatively, somehow I could grind my way all the way through these levels, go over to this villager and say, hey, look at this. I want to save 1 diamond. So why don't you go ahead and swap that armor out for me? Just like that, I'm the proud owner of a diamond chest plate. Now, in theory, this sounds like it could be pretty good until you realize that, unfortunately, if you take any damage, like lose any armor durability at all. Like, check this out. Let's say we lost a tiny bit of durability on the diamond legging. It's basically new, though. Unfortunately, this trade is not going to work. You cannot sell anything less than perfection to the villager. A little bit of a scam artist, I see. On one hand, I can kind of understand why the devs would have done this. I mean, after all, you could use a diamond legging up, like, basically all the way and then go ahead and trade it in for a new pair, but at the same time, if you go through the trouble of crafting a diamond legging and use it all the way up, or at least almost all the way up, and you didn't put any enchantments on it, what's the big deal of trading it for a new piece? Like, it's not that big of a deal. Now, how it's going to go every single time with that diamond trade is you're going to get 2 randomized pieces of diamond armor inside of this biome. Oh boy, look at that one. We level it up all the way. Oh boy, look at that one. Out of all of the new armor or villager trades, the armor swapping and this diamond block trade are probably the most intriguing ones. So check this out. Over here I did a little bit of grinding and now I've got what is 3 master level armor or villagers. The diamond block trade is not going to be there consistently every single time. The armor swapping trade will definitely be there consistently every single time. But the pieces aren't always the same. So this villager over here, its name is And. If I check out the trade, scroll all the way down, we've got a couple enchantments offered to me. Absolutely terrible. For the cheap price of 4 emeralds and a piece of armor, I could swap it. This one over here, its name is Subscribe, we've got the block trade. And then this one over here, same thing, its name is Like, and we've got the block trade. The enchantment is always blast protection. This block trade. Now at first, this seems like a sneaky little trick from King B-Dogs or something. If you don't think about it too much, 9 diamonds for 42 emeralds? I mean, emeralds are so easy to get when trading. It's not worth it. However, but flashback, throwback, let's remind ourselves what happened in an earlier snapshot. It got overshadowed because it was dropped inside of a snapshot with a bunch of other cool villager changes, but diamonds. Diamonds are way easier to find now. And so here I was, inside of a random big cave. In fact, the first big cave that I found when I flew down to the bottom of the world. Right off the bat, if I start moving around inside of this cave, I'm gonna find a lot of diamonds. In fact, way more diamonds exposed in this cave than I would have ever before. Like, here's another diamond, there's another diamond sitting over there, and I'm sure, I guarantee it, if I were to take some more time and move around inside of this small cave, I'll find even more diamonds before too long. I still have to do a ton of extensive survival trading, but if diamonds are much more common and easier to get, that diamond block trade, maybe you shouldn't sleep on it. Another biomes villager that has some significant interest here is the savanna biome. Next up, over at the savanna, everything begins exactly the same. Just like I mentioned before, like I will maybe mention again in the video, the trades are way less random. Continuing to level my way through this villager's levels here, eventually we hit rock bottom. This is terrible. These chest plates, Curse of Binding, Iron chestplate, what in the world? But for the sake of leveling, we'll go ahead and do it. So the savanna biome, Blast Furnace Villager. It gets interesting, but only at the last level. It's interesting, but only at the highest level. Check this out, for the cheap price of 3 diamonds and 7 emeralds, instead of what would have been like 8 diamonds or something, there's a chestplate. Now it's gonna have the Curse of Binding, but it is cheap diamond armor. It is cheap diamond armor, really, really cheaply. Now, Curse of Binding, you know how it works, it's stuck on you forever, which is a little bit tragic, especially if you wanted to ever set to the skies and fly around or anything, but cheap diamond armor. Interesting. Now, similar to some of the other biomes and their armor trades, you're not guaranteed the same piece of armor every single time. From the looks of the chart, you can only find a helmet or a chestplate for really, really cheap, but it's always going to be cursed in the savanna. Now, speaking of warm biomes, we've got the savanna, but we've also got the mangrove swamp biome. Little bit of confusion I've been seeing about how swamp villagers work. If you're able to find yourself a laggy mangrove swamp biome, that actually counts as a swamp biome, which means you can get a swamp villager here. Same thing is going to go for any variant of the jungle, whether it's a sparse jungle, bamboo jungle, or plain old normal jungle. Now, the swamp armor, that's one we focus on quite a bit in part 1. We talked all about how the swamp armor, once you level it up, will be able to sell you chainmail armor. And the chainmail armor, once you get higher up, it's going to be enchanted with mending. It's kind of cool. One we didn't talk about, however, is the jungle biome. If we get the armor villager inside of the jungle, after that we go ahead and begin to level this thing up, before too long seeing chainmail, working our way all the way through this villager's levels until we get higher and higher and higher. Eventually, we see enchanted chainmail armor. Except this time, instead of mending, it's got unbreaking. I love that you find chainmail armor from the secret villagers, but I hate how the jungle biome is just like the worst version of the swamp biome. I wish they did something different with it, like maybe have other treasure good enchantments. Now, while deep diving into the armor villager today and the other day, a thing that I forgot and a thing that I think just about everybody else is forgetting about and sleeping on is the librarian changes. The librarian changes have not changed at all inside of the snapshot, but what about contextually comparing? What about contextually comparing? Back over to the Savannah village that we were just at a second ago. In fact, I just littered all over the place. Don't do that, kids. Anyways, back over at this village, let's drop a librarian in and go ahead and start to level this librarian up. Immediately, though, we can see a small problem that I think exists. Pretty much the biggest complaint that I'm seeing about all of these villager trades is that they're biome locked. Like, if you want mending, you need to have a swamp. And if you don't have a swamp, well, rip dunzo, you're done. That's bad. Definitely, absolutely, Mojang shouldn't prevent changes because of niche playstyles, but they should consider those niche playstyles, I think. And I think we're missing a huge opportunity for a solution here. Instead of the librarian villagers overlapping with the trades that could be offered on this armor right here, what are the librarian villagers and these armors kind of like spread out the enchantments? Like, check this out. The armor villager right here, it offers enchanted armor, but it's always going to be cursed, unfortunately. If we check out the librarian right here, trade number 1, it's a curse enchantment. Moving on a little farther down, though, we got Sweeping Edge and we've got Sharpness. Obviously, Sharpness, Sweeping Edge can't go on the armor right here, but Curse of Binding, I mean, I guess maybe it's a lore thing that they're trying to get at with it all being cursed inside of the savannah. But this is a missed opportunity. Back over to the plains biome with our good old trusty friends. Like and subscribe. Let's go ahead and check out the same thing. If we take our new librarian villager and check out the enchantments it's offering, Punch 2. Right off the bat, that's not an armor enchantment, so no overlap there. Now, a little bit of a spoiler here, as I continue to level up the Plains Villager all the way until we hit the Master level, there are no armor enchantments. That is, there are no armor enchantments until we hit the Master level. Bingo boingo, Protection 3 right there, and that's the big problem. Protection 1 on the Iron Leggings right there, Protection 3 from the Villager. If I theoretically made a trading hall inside of the Plains biome with just Plains Villagers, it's like low-key kind of pointless. Like, you got the better trade right there. Why in the world would like ever exist, other than to just be a mere token, an example, a reminder for what people should do? So 2 cases here, you kind of get the point, the example that I'm making. But there is one more atrocious one that I need to show you, and that's going to be inside of the jungle biome. So let's roleplay for a second. Let's think about this. We're inside of my Minecraft survival world, the guide, season 3 if you will. We're in my favorite biome to live, the jungle biome. I want to build a villager trading hall, have every villager master leveled. I start with the armor. I get it all the way master leveled, and then I've got chainmail armor on breaking 1, and then maybe chainmail armor projectile protection. Very, very neat. Then I go ahead and level the villager up all the way. Maybe I will hopefully get some different traits. While technically different, the enchantment overlaps. They're like consistently happening here. And it's kind of really unfortunate too, because already as it stands, like Unbreaking 1 on chainmail armor is really not great for a secret biome villager. But like Unbreaking 2 all the way up there, it's literally just Unbreaking and Unbreaking. I definitely feel like there should be some enchantment diversification here. This could be the solution to all of Mojang's problems. Like, I get it, for specific lore reasons, they're linking enchantments to certain biomes. Maybe Frostwalker inside of the snowy biome. And I know for sure, there is definitely a cool factor involved to have like a trading hall with the villagers from all around the world with different trades, but what happens when they change the armor villager? And it just has even more of the same enchantments. I don't know, guys. You let me know what you think about that down below, but that's just my thought. There is one final thing I'd like to show you. For our final test of the day today, here we are, back over inside of the old plains biome. We got like over there, we've got subscribe over here. Subscribe is going to be the subject of the test. I went ahead and leveled subscribe all the way up to a master level trader. The master level trader has some trade discounts already going for me because I've traded with it so many times. What if, let's say theoretically, accidentally, oh no, zombie got inside a pen, and zombie attacks subscribe, poor subscribe. But it's great news, don't worry, I built a ceiling over it, almost like I was planning for this, and then I went ahead and took out the zombie, we don't need you. After that, subscribe gets a little bit weaker, it's so sad, and a golden apple. Then the tremors begin. Now we wait. We give it a little bit of time, and our soulful son over here named Subscribe is all of a sudden cured. Now, one big thing to remember here is, unfortunately, no matter what happens in 1.20.2, cycle discounting is gone. However, on just one discount right here, I can sell 1 iron ingot for 1 emerald. If I move down and look at the block trade, unfortunately, that is 9 iron ingots for 4 emeralds. If I sold 9 to this one, I would get 9 emeralds. Like, look at this thing. Just like that, that's 9. I guess what I'm trying to get at here is maybe that final block trade, it needs to be like adjusted in some direction. No matter what, every single biome, every single villager that I've discounted to try this out for, it's always 1 ingot right here, which, actually, look, Mojang, please don't change that. Don't raise that. This one right here, though, nothing changes no matter what. And I think that's a little bit of a problem. Anyways, armorer villagers and all of the amazing, and maybe not so amazing, changes that have been made to them. What do you think about these changes? Do you like them or do you not? Believe it or not, originally I was planning on talking about a whole lot more inside of this video, including the cartographer, including some game rules and stuff like that. So if you'd like to see more villager experiments just like we did here today, and just like we did with the librarian in this video right here, then let me know by leaving a like. If you haven't seen the librarian and wanderer video yet, now is the perfect time to check that one out. Nothing has changed and is still as relevant as ever. Thank you for watching. Big shout out to my patrons, Ape Marie 23, Autumn BC 1117, Arlo, aka Bobby, Nick C, and Clay S. You're the best. It's been me, Waddles. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.